Circulation has been reopened at Yassa after a metallic culvert crumbled as a result of old age and floods. The government has given up to September 15 for repair works to be complete. Cameroon's defense forces have ended an induction training that qualifies them as UN peacekeeping forces to the troubled Central African Republic. And the fair to promote government action SAGO has ended in Yaoundé with the award of prizes to partner enterprises. Those are the headlines, the details right now. Thanks for watching the 7:30 news on CRTV. I am Moki Edwin Kinzaka in Yaoundé. Circulation has been re-established at the eastern entrance to Douala after a metallic culvert crumbled and slowed traffic for several days. The Minister of Public Works visited the site and said government was working hard to replace several dozen other culverts, which may also give way due to old age. Alphonse Bongo reports from Douala.
Since 4:50 p.m. this Saturday, the long hours of impatience on the east entrance to Douala have been practically over. Work is complete on the deviation constructed within 72 hours to re-establish traffic on this section of the busiest highway of the country. According to the Littoral Regional Delegate for Public Works, Mr. Jean-Pierre Bousnoum, the 300-meter-long deviation has all the technical parameters to carry vehicles of all shapes and sizes. It can resist for up to 6 months, but government has given the Razel company September 15 as deadline for the completion of work on the main portion of the road where the aging culvert collapsed. It's been 72 hours of wait for passengers plying the National Road number 3, and not long ago the road just behind us was officially opened, and it can be said that the economy has been unblocked. Reporting from Douala, Olivier Mvondo, Nobengebang and Alphonse Abongwa for CRTV News.
Newly appointed Secretaries General have officially gone to work after they were installed yesterday in various ministries in Yaoundé. At the Ministry of Public Works, Uben Noel Ebangva was called upon to ensure that the state plays its role of improving the country's road network as the first option in assuring economic growth. He was installed by Minister Emmanuel Nganu Jumise, as Joyce Kimbifuwajo reports.
It was a red carpet that welcomed the new Secretary General Uben Noel Ebangve to the Ministry of Public Works. But before proceeding with his installation proper, the decree appointing him was read out to the public. But the interim Secretary General, who had served there for over a year, was congratulated for his contributions. While commissioning the new Secretary General into his seat, the Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Nganu Jumesi, described him as a seasoned civil servant with a high intellectual profile, vested with rich professional experience gathered from his previous 3 ministerial departments. An experience that is hoped to be exploited in accomplishing his task in his new missions. A message well understood.
I have to do my best to help my bosses.
The ceremony was heavily attended by several other government ministers and family members.
The new Secretary General of the Ministry of Higher Education has been urged to ensure celerity in the treatment of files and to show integrity in the discharge of his duties. The urge was made by the Minister of Higher Education, Professor Jacques Famdongo, while commissioning Professor Wilfred Gapsia into his duties. Ebenezer Kanga was there.
It is with this firm handshake that the Minister of Higher Education, Professor Jacques Famendongo, commissioned Professor Wilfred Gapsa into his duties as Secretary General of the Ministry. The minister told him that he has the challenging task of coordinating administrative services of the ministry and supervising the implementation of the 4 programs approved by government in the higher education sector in 2018. Since June 2017, Professor Wilfred Gapsa has been acting Secretary General of the ministry. During the ceremony, he was decorated with the Medal of Knight of the National Order of Valor. The new Secretary General of the Ministry of Higher Education, who is married and father of 5, hails from Balikumbat in the northwest region. This is why indigents of the northwest and southwest regions turned out in huge numbers as a sign of gratitude to the head of state for appointing yet another illustrious Anglophone to such an important position.
Minister Luke Magwambarga Tangana calls on the new Secretary General of the Ministry of Trade, Malachi Manauda, to use his rich professional experience and see to it that agreed prices are respected in the markets and the country is free from poor quality goods. Ashley Yu reports.
Following the presidential decree of July 20, 2018, appointing Secretary Generals, Malachi Manauda, appointed as Secretary General at the Ministry of Trade and Commerce, was recently installed by the Minister of Trade and Commerce. At the event, the Minister Luke Magwambarga Tangana outlined the tasks ahead of the new Secretary General and his expected innovation in the economic field. The appointee expressed gratitude to the head of state.
I want to thank His Excellency President Paul Biya for trusting me. I am very happy to be here. We were well received by the minister. We commit to supporting him in the task delegated to him by the head of state.
A handshake between the minister and the outgoing Secretary General, Achille Basilikin III, and the new appointee, Malachi Manauda, was a sign of handing power over. The 45-year-old Secretary General is a husband and a father to many.
Government has described as unbearable and unacceptable certain terms in the proposal by some clerics to solve the upheavals in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. The Minister of Communication and Government spokesperson, Issa Chiruma Bakari, was reacting yesterday on CRTV to the proposal signed by some Catholic, Presbyterian and Muslim leaders calling for an all-Anglophone conference. In the following report, Killian Dandifon comes back on the official position of the government of the Republic.
In this choreographic display by the Bamenda Dance Group, the values of peace, tolerance and mutual respect propagated by the Commonwealth are highlighted. Values which the youth of the region have been encouraged to adhere to, irrespective of their political, religious and cultural leanings.
The respect of the rule of law, tolerance, mutual respect and understanding are basic pillars on which you build your future. There is no better equalizer in society than education. It stands to education that the child of a shoe mender can tomorrow become the President of the Republic.
Coming at a moment when the youth of the region feel left out in the development process of the country, adding up to the unrest, some of the youth opine that this is a right step towards bringing back the youth on track.
This campaign has come to tell us to rethink whether through this journey, how are we moving? Are we with a bucket of water to quench the fire when we meet it? Or we are moving around with fuel to fuel more violence.
Interactive sessions were used to share ideas on how youth can foster peace and unity, and they were encouraged to stay informed and make the best of opportunities like the Triennial Youth Plan the government has put in place for the socio-economic advancement of young people in Cameroon.
Well, sorry for that hitch there. The report was on a national solidarity campaign to promote the core values of the Commonwealth that has been launched in the northwest region of the country, with a current call on young people to be advocates of peace, no matter the circumstances in their respective communities. The minister delegate in the Ministry of External Relations in charge of the Commonwealth, Felix Mbayu, also exhorted the youth to respect Republican symbols and institutions, as Mercy Kusi said in the report that just ended. Government has described as unbearable and unacceptable certain terms in the proposal by some clerics to solve the upheavals in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. The Minister of Communication and Government spokesperson Issa Chiruma Bakari was reacting yesterday on CRTV to the proposal signed by some Catholic, Presbyterian and Muslim leaders calling for an all-Anglophone conference. In the following report, Killian Dandifon comes back on the official position of the government of Cameroon.
It was on the 8:30 p.m. CRTV television news of July the 27th that the Minister of Communication, Issa Chiroma Bakari, government spokesperson, as guest, made public the official position on the proposal of some religious leaders on an all-Anglophone general meeting to solve the current problem. He first admitted that a solution is a common target.
All initiative, from wherever they come, provided that they contribute to restore peace where it is disturbed all over the nation, such initiatives are welcome.
But he has rejected putting the Republican forces at parity with secessionist fighters.
To put at the same level our regular army, at the same level with terrorists, is unbearable, unacceptable.
The Minister of Communication has also stated that secessionists under custody cannot be set free, as suggested.
In a law-abiding nation like our country, it is unacceptable to ask the government to free those who became responsible, the scourge of our nation.
Minister Issa Chiroma Bakari praised the head of state's offer of about 13 billion CFA francs for relief and reconstruction in the northwest and southwest regions.
Some 300 Cameroon Defense Forces have completed a pre-deployment internship that qualifies them for the UN peacekeeping mission in the Central African Republic. Their graduation ceremony from the National Gendarmerie refresher course was presided over by Brigadier General Daniel Elokobin-Jok. The Yaoundé International School of Security Forces, E-Forces, also graduated civilian and security staff on peacekeeping support operations and prevention of sexual exploitation. Kylian Dandifon once more.
It is the fourth pre-deployment internship organized by the National Gendarmerie Refresher Center for the Maintenance of Peace and Order. For close to 2 months, from the 4th of June, these 295 security forces have been taught by 18 Cameroonian security officials and mentored by 5 American experts to protect the UN staff and material, restore peace, support local police, and protect civilians. Their immediate mission is with MINUSCA in the Central African Republic, representing the Secretary of State at the Ministry of Defense in charge of the National Gendarmerie, Brigadier General Daniel Elokobin-Jok, Central Coordination Director of the Gendarmerie Operations, warned against enemy misconduct in the UN peacekeeping mission. In a separate but related ceremony at the nearby Yaoundé International School for Security Forces, over 40 security and civilian personnel from the Central African sub-region graduated after 5 days of intensive theoretical and practical lessons on the prevention of sexual exploitation and abuse in peacekeeping operations.
Sexual exploitation and abuse have nowadays become common offenses in these missions.
The trainees are expected to exhibit a given behavioral code of conduct in peacekeeping operations.
You have to really know what is good and what is bad.
Inform, sensitize and communicate the missions of the United Nations to the public with regards to the protection of the rights of the children, with regards to the prevention of sexual exploitation and abuse.
The training was co-financed by A-Force and Japan through the United Nations Development Program.
Close to 18 million CFA francs has been raised by indigents of the Upper Nyong division of the East region resident in Yaoundé to support President Paul Biya's candidature in the October 7 polls. The money was raised during an event in Yaoundé chaired by the head of the permanent divisional delegation to the Upper Nyong division, Benjamin Ama. Raina Chisali reports.
17,712,000 CFA francs is the amount that has been raised by the CPDM Permanent Divisional Delegation in Upper Nyong. This to support the campaign of their party chairman and candidate in the October 7 presidential election.
We are already preparing the election campaign for our candidate, His Excellency Paul Biya. At the date of today, I can say that our action program is already known. All measures will be taken so that we will have an excellent election campaign in the Opinion division.
Their target is to raise 67 million CFA francs before campaigns officially begin on September 22, 2018. Presiding over the fundraising ceremony, the head of the CPDM Permanent Divisional Delegation to the Opinion challenged all supporters to put hands on deck to ensure the success of their candidate, Paul Biya, come October 7.
The seminar on the balanced and objective coverage of the October 7 presidential poll, organized by Cameroon's public broadcaster CRTV, was on its day 2 today in Bolova, with participants reflecting on an innovative coverage plan. The plan is intended to enable Cameroonians to make informed choices on October 7. Samuel Sawada reports.
The October 7 presidential election in Cameroon is coming at a time the state-owned broadcaster is going through major internal management and structural changes. This, coupled with the socio-political crisis rocking some regions in the country, constitutes a veritable challenge for the CRTV. And this is what justifies the organization of a seminar bringing together in Bolova CRTV's finest brains around the corporation's top management.
The presidential election, which is coming our way, is undoubtedly a country's most important political event. As a matter of fact, what could be more important than a people, a nation, meeting its destiny? CRTV should focus on analytical and sound reports, while CRTV News should give precedence to instant reports, live coverage, and breaking news.
On day 2 of the seminar, which is to last 3 days, participants have an idea of what to do in order to enable Cameroonians make informed choices on October 7.
We have a program that has to do with the pre-electoral period, during the electoral campaigns, and after the elections itself, and right up to the period that will have to do with the proclamation of the results and the oath taking of the eventual president that will be elected. And so we are trying to adapt the programs, create new ones.
We're going to come up with reports, with magazines and documentaries before, during and after the elections. And so it's very important that this session that we've had here will help us to actually achieve our objectives.
The plan DOS setup is expected to go operational in the days ahead with special radio and TV programs. The intention here is to get all candidates familiar to Cameroonians.
CRTV Radio has been awarded the Best Media Coverage Prize of the 7th edition of the Fair to Promote Government's Action SAGO. The prize was given during a partner night that took place yesterday in Yaoundé. Cynthia Etim was there.
Of the dozens of radio stations shortlisted for the award, CRTV Radio distinguished itself through the quality of program it had to mobilize popular participation at the Fair to Promote Government's Action, SAGO.
Je voudrais d'abord remercier la CRTV qui nous a accompagnés tout au long.
I would like to thank CRTV, which has accompanied us throughout the event, from the preparation to organization. It was important for us to assemble all our partners and thank them.
Apart from the festive aspect of the evening, partners received ample information on what public service in Cameroon is all about.
Inform them that public service, it is a structure for the administration. That structure permits to all of us, all the citizens, to have the needs, the health, and the security.
The night equally witnessed the award of prizes to 8 other partners of SAGO, all of whom appreciated the prizes and promised to always participate in the fair which promotes government's action. SAGO, which is in its 7th edition, began in 2012.
The National Order of Opticians of Cameroon has met in an ordinary General Assembly in the nation's capital to validate the internal and external rules and regulations governing the body, as well as address issues plaguing this professional institution, such as the shortage of opticians. The Ordinary Assembly, which precedes 4 extraordinary assemblies, saw the installation of an executive bureau elected last May 2018. Rahanatu Sali reports.
Need for certified opticians in Cameroon is 2,000, yet the country counts barely 200. This shortage has been blamed on the lack of schools and the non-existence of a law governing this profession.
Optics was created with problems. We've been exercising in illegality. It was in 2011 that we had the first school created here in Cameroon.
This Ordinary General Assembly of the National Order of Opticians of Cameroon, which precedes 4 extraordinary assemblies, seeks to address these issues by validating the internal and external rules of this body.
This Ordinary Assembly is to harmonize opticians, regularize all the problems, internal problems we have, and to push our profession.
An executive bureau elected last May 2018 was also installed.
Our book of the week is Women Who Saw by Labelle Nambangi. It is a 179-page book in which the author encourages women to believe in themselves and strive to be financially independent regardless of what society thinks. Yoti Kale Lisonge read through the book and our reports.
A non-fiction book divided into 3 sections, having 7 chapters that all focus on the success that women attain when they believe in themselves and to support the need. Women Who Saw by Labelle Nambangi brings out women's greatest fears of failure and rejection. Drawing inspiration from some of her childhood experiences, the author emphasizes the importance for every woman to be financially independent and shares the story of Mom and Mami Alice, 2 women of change who helped the women in their community, Bikondo, by creating an Oroko Women's Association of Bikondo, where the women were encouraged to save money, which they eventually used to set up businesses for themselves or educate their children. This in section 1 of her book captioned Teaching Women. A book that draws the reader's attention to how poorly society has made women think of themselves. This she brings out in section 2 titled The Patriarchy. Here, the author decries instances where women have been referred to as ugly or made to believe they are incomplete as single ladies, and assures her audience that they are whole and complete. Labelle Nambangi highlights the importance of teamwork in Chapter 4, which talks about engaging men and women as allies. She goes further to underscore Victor Ibe, Rob Okun, and Gilbert Salazar as men of change, men who are feminist. The 3rd section of her book, Women in Leadership, zooms in on the need to think outside the box and design your own path. In the 7th and last chapter, Women Helping Other Women, Labelle Nambangi features her mother, Melissa Nambangi, for her works as founder of the Minnesota African Women's Association, amongst the 3 women of change who have contributed on giving women a more positive outlook on their role in society.
On to religious news now. Christians of the 22 parishes of Église Presbyterienne Camerounaise in the Central Region are currently attending a 3-day seminar in Yaoundé aimed at evaluating ongoing projects. Holding under the chairmanship of the moderator, Reverend Pastor Abbé Owonja Jean Calvin, the Christians will also raise funds to construct the Mimboman parish of the APC. Alice Mbe reports.
Drawing inspiration from Deuteronomy 8:1-14, in which man is urged to live and multiply in order to possess the land handed down to them by their forefathers, Reverend Abbé Owonja Jean Calvin reminded Christians from the 22 parishes of the need to stick to the teachings of Christ.
It is a time of our jurisdiction to revisit the works done since the war to today, and we take this occasion to do some affectation of pastors and receive some committees. That's simply what we want to do here during this meeting.
The 3-day meeting, which ends on Sunday, also provides a forum to brainstorm on how to raise funds for the construction of the Jean-Claude Menge Mezomo parish in Mimboman.
Our parish have started building, but now
we need some efforts of everybody to help us to continue to build this parish, because now we are limited.
Apart from the evaluation of the ongoing projects, the seminar will also feature the transfer of the different men of God and the putting in place of new strategies to enhance Christianity.
On to sports now. The Cameroon Cricket Federation this afternoon launched the 2018 couple competition, which is a combination of the 2018 Cricket Championship and the Cricket Cup of Cameroon. The competitions that bring together 12 teams in the men's category and 10 in the women's category will run till August 26. In the meantime, former Indomitable Lionesses Dorothy Elangwe has put an end to her international career this afternoon in the nation's capital. Baldwin Sama reports.
As the Cameroon Cricket Federation launched this couple competition, a combination of its 2018 Cricket Championship and Cup of Cameroon, it officially brings together 12 teams in the male category and 10 in the women's. This year's edition of the Cricket Couple competition is out to promote the discipline and to lure more cricket lovers to embrace its practice.
It's happening because it's our tradition. It's an annual event in our development program. So 2018 is just the tradition, and we are also trying to respect the international schedules and programs which have been put in place for the development of cricket in Cameroon, especially for Cameroon, which is a young cricket playing nation.
The 12 male teams are subdivided into 3 groups of 4 teams each to play in away and return legs, while the ladies are subdivided into 2 groups with the finals to be played by August 26 this year. Dorothy Elangwe, former player of Cameroon's women's football team, this afternoon organized a jubilee officially putting an end to her career.
I'm happy because the Lioness and the coaches are here to be here with me.
During an encounter bringing together former players of Cameroon's women's football team and some local female footballers, it was an opportunity for her to rekindle her old days as former player of Paris Saint-Germain women's football team and Marseille, and her 3 bronze medals won at the women's AFCON with Cameroon's national women's football team.
Before we leave you, circulation has been reopened at Yassa after a metallic culvert crumbled as a result of old age and floods. The government has given up to September 15 for the repair work to be completed, and the minister visited the construction site. Cameroon's defense forces have ended an induction training that qualifies them as UN peacekeeping forces to the troubled Central African Republic, and there was also a training for staff of the E-forces. And the fair to promote government action has ended in Yaoundé with the award of prizes to partner enterprises that distinguished themselves during that Sago fair, which ended in Yaoundé yesterday. That ends the news, provided by Emanuela Vemnui. I am Moki Edwin Kinzika. Thank you for watching. But you'll meet Lucrece Midou Jemba in exactly 30 minutes from now with the news in the French language. Thanks for watching.